So then, chapter 3. At the end of our previous chapter, our antagonist for the story, Horace Arnold's, had been confronted, seemingly by a person from his past, an old childhood victim. Let's see what happens next. Horace stared, half in awe, half in terror, at his childhood victim standing before him, now a figure of green muscle and titanium alloy. "What the hell happened to you?" he stuttered. The answer was blunt and simple. The explosion at the factory when your father was in charge here. Horace remembered that day. A day seared into his mind, both with pleasure and with terror. He had been ill on the day in question, curled up at home under his duvet after downing a flask of hot chicken soup, and had been watching something crazy on TV. The programme was interrupted by a breaking news bulletin, reporting that an explosion had occurred at one of his father's factories, where some of his classmates had been visiting on a school trip. "But wait," he interjected, "no one was injured in that day. You all escaped. What happened?" Francis glared at him. "Sure," he spoke. "We all seemingly escaped there with only minor injuries. Only later did we find that some kind of new technology had been fused with our skins, altering us all physically, chemically, and genetically. For some, things weren't so different. Metal plate here, gauntlets there, metal boots fused to your legs. I got the full force of it, though. Complete physical change. Physical, mental, genetic, and chemical." Horace pulled himself back to the present. "Still," he said, "my father was in charge at that time. If you want revenge for what happened to you, you'll have to take it up with him." Francis smirked. "I don't want revenge against him. It wasn't his fault. That day was just a case of wrong place, wrong time." Horace's brow furrowed. "Then why are you here?" he asked. The mint-green glare returned once again on Francis's face. "You know why I'm here," he stated. "What you are doing is wrong. You can't keep doing this, exploiting people. If you keep doing this, your actions will come back to haunt you, and your empire will crumble within a week." Horace's eyes widened. He stood up from his desk and looked Francis firmly in the eye. "Was that a threat?" he spat. Francis stared intently back at him. "No," he answered calmly. "Not a threat. A warning. You can't push your luck forever. Stop now, while you can." A flame seemingly passed through Horace's eye. "Why should I stop?" he snarled. "I own nearly every building within this city. There are a world beneath my thumb, an empire that I have inherited and made my own. Why would I give that up?" Francis walked to the window, looked out at the city, then turned back to face Horace. "Because if you don't," he said, "people will be hurt. Innocent people. Lives will be lost, homes destroyed, and widows made." Horace smirked. "Another £200,000 I can make, then?" He grinned. Francis glared at him. "And if you do that," he continued, "we'll have to stop you." Horace's grin disappeared. He glared at Francis. "I hardly think people will listen to a puddle of green blood on the sidewalk." He charged head-on at Francis, shoving him hard in the chest. Francis flew backward, smashing through the glass window and dropping into the city below. Horace smiled to himself, but as he turned away from his defenestration, there was a boom that erupted behind him. Francis's green face drew level with his, a blast of firepower erupting from his boots, propelling him up. "Whatever happens now, remember," he spoke. "You brought it on yourself." With that, the green-armoured titan went rocketing off into the distance, leaving Horace panting and shivering at his window. Francis flew quickly and briskly through the air until the local college finally came into view. He landed silently and marched hurriedly into the accounting school building. An odd place for a base of operations, but as his teammates had said, it was as good as anywhere. Speeding up the stairs, he headed for the main hub, where one of his teammates, Ocean, was waiting for him. "How'd it go?" asked Ocean. Ocean, on the face of it, looked like any average woman. Brown eyes, brunette hair with a few strands of blonde here and there. Her clothes, as well, while adventurous for some, could be considered normal, with a suit of black leather and a blood-red fabric. The thing that set her apart today was her wings. They weren't always out, but but whenever she manipulated the animal DNA running through her body to let her wings out, everyone appreciated the beauty of her blood-red arched appendages. Francis sadly shook his head. "He's not budging," he sighed. "I didn't imagine he would. He's too far up the mountain of vanity and self-interest. It's up to us now." Ocean nodded. "So what do we do now?" Francis sighed. "I know someone who works for his company. She's a risky option, but she's worth a shot." End of chapter 3. So, who's their mysterious contact? Well, we'll just have to find out at some point. See ya.